Welcome to the Teachers on Fire podcast, where 21st century educators come to share, learn, and be inspired. We believe in the growth mindset, creativity, communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and strategic uses of education technology. Our mission is to share news and views from teachers who are crushing it in the classroom and making a difference for learners everywhere. I'm your host, Tim Cavey. Let's jump into today's episode.
Today I'm speaking with Terry Jones. Terry serves as a high school vice principal in the town of Trail, BC in Canada. Terry, thanks so much for coming on the show. Are you ready to talk education?
Absolutely, Tim. It's great to be here.
Why don't you start by describing your current education situation?
Sure. Well, Tim, I've been at the JL Crowe Secondary School in Trail.
Okay.
It's my 22nd year of being at JL Crowe, and the last 4 years I've been a vice principal. Before that, I was a math teacher, leadership teacher, PE teacher, and we had a vice principal go off on a leave, and we felt, I guess the administration felt they needed someone to step in, asked me to step in, and I enjoyed the challenge and somehow became the vice principal at the school. So the last 3-4 years have been, an exciting new challenge for me, and it's actually been really great for me, to be honest. It's been a nice challenge, and I've really enjoyed it.
So you sort of stepped into the role thinking, hey, this might be a temporary thing, and you adapted to the challenges, and now here you are, and it's going well.
Well, I guess at the time, my principal at the time, he felt like I needed something else. Mm-hmm. And he had asked me about, doing it, and I don't know, I found myself applying for coaching positions in hockey, and so he felt like, geez, maybe you need a different challenge in your teaching career, and that was a real impetus to say, geez, maybe I do. And so when I got the opportunity and saw what it was like, it was just different, and it was something that it's so different from the classroom, mm-hmm. Yet interesting, and you just never know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. In a teaching job, you choreograph pretty much most of the time that what's going to happen, and you do have moments that crop up and come up, but
sure,
as a vice principal, you never know what's going to happen from day to day, from moment to moment. So it's really interesting, and I really like the leadership in terms of education and where we're heading, and working with staff to develop relationships, and so it's been a great challenge.
Excellent. Terry, we all have the low moments or the really difficult challenges along our career that become growing experiences. Tell us about one that you've faced, and maybe it was one in the last 4 years of administration, or do you think back to your earlier career?
Well, there's been plenty of times in the last 4 years where I thought, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I had so much fun in the classroom, and mm-hmm. So you really see a lot of the lowest part of kids and kids' experiences mm-hmm. as a vice principal. Kids and suffering from things at home or poverty mm-hmm. or different abuses, and in a vice principal role, you see a lot more of that. You don't mm-hmm. have the positive experiences that balance out and make it such a positive experience. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I would say as a negative experience early in my career was I really felt at one time unsupported by the administration when I was in my first 7-8 years of teaching. Mm-hmm. And at that time, there was just a bit of discontent on staff, and the culture of the school wasn't great. And then as quick as it came, it almost seemed to leave. And it was like the whole staff was supportive of each other. And even though we weren't feeling the support of the administration at that time, we felt the support of each other. And, then an administrative change happened. And all of a sudden, I went from a teacher thinking, geez, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, to, man, do I love this job. And that was the difference. And, feeling that support from administration. And I think as an administrator now, I think and I hope that I try and support my staff and serve them to give them what they need.
Wow, I love that story, Terry. What a testament, really, to what positive leadership can do in an organization. And going from near burnout or at the point of considering quitting to completely, being revitalized and re-energized, that is a tremendous tribute, and sounds like a really good model for you to sort of craft your own practice after.
Yeah, you know what, Tim? I find now that, when you're in this role, you get to see teachers at different parts of their career, and you have this young. You start with being a young teacher who's green to having a young family, and then you see teachers when their kids are young and they're not sleeping, and the teaching job is hard enough, but when you have a young family and you're making ends meet, you see all those things. You don't see them when you're in your own class just day to day, but you sure see them when you're managing and working with people. And so, I think that's it is a great lesson, and it's this whole business is about people.
It's true,
and so that was a great early lesson for me.
Terry, what is it that excites you about education today? And this can be a big picture thing, or it could be something really on the micro level. What is it that is sort of igniting your passion these days?
This is a really tough question because there's lots of things I find exciting right now. I think when I came back from our master's study, and I want to believe that the master's study this year has really invigorated my thought process. It seems to be triggering lots of new ideas and sparks for innovation, and to me it's been a really invigorating year. And so what I think I'd focus on, and what I'm really excited about, is just this change in philosophy, and in terms of teachers becoming learners, and creating environments where the students are at the center. Where we're looking at kids and their passions, and basing our learning around personalized learning, and to see teachers now, and really to motivate and encourage teachers to get interested in these kinds of beliefs is what I'm really excited about. And every single time that we do things, and we do things together, when I see little bits of change, I find it so exciting. I really do. I really do. And we still see lots of the old style, but and there's lots of the old that's important and still valuable. But to see the new things, and to see kids who are truly invigorated by learning and excited about being at school, and being a part of a culture that's vibrant, that's what's really exciting to me. And helping to create that culture and foster and sustain that culture is really what I'm super excited about.
Well, you're getting me excited for administration someday, Terry, and I love that enthusiasm. Outside of education, Terry, what's another area of passion and learning for you? And obviously in education, we love to call ourselves lifelong learners. What's another area completely outside of education that you really enjoy, and maybe it energizes you on a different kind of level?
Tim, I've been a hockey coach for almost as long as I've been a teacher, and it's been a hobby of mine to coach junior hockey. I've coached junior B hockey in our local area here, and after playing, kind of pro hockey, Western League Junior, all that kind of stuff. When you get to be, in your late 20s, you still have something inside you that, it craves competition, and it craves that feeling of being part of a team. And so I started coaching in my late 20s, and, as I was getting my teaching degree, and it really became a part of who I am, and what I do in the community, and how I serve my community. And I pride what we've built in our team is that we built a culture in our team of kind of learning and improving and being holistic. And I know that that's developed just like my teaching has over the past 20 years. Like it's I think about what it used to be like when I first started coaching, and you take coaching clinics and you talk to people, you network with people, you learn different things, and honestly, I really believe that coaching it really drives my whole heart and soul of everything that I do. And
Wow.
even though it's time consuming, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of patience for my wife. It's something that I really love to do, and I feel like I get that social component with my friends who I coach with. I get that competitive nature from competing and preparing my team for competition, and I really get a lot of satisfaction from watching my kids grow and take other steps, and whether it's moving on to pro hockey or to get a teaching job or just to go into higher education. It's a really exciting process, and so that's I guess I mean, there's a few other things that I do. I'm pretty passionate about the arts, and I really love to ham it up on stage with our arts programs at school. And,
Okay.
but I'd say my biggest thing is certainly my coaching and involved with my hockey team.
That's where your heart is. Well, Terry, I mean, I don't need to tell you. I saw a little bit on Twitter from you about this, but Canada suffered a tragedy a few weeks ago with a hockey team in a small community, and we just saw the tremendous power and significance of what a team can mean to a community. In other parts of North America, it might be a football team, it might be a soccer team. On the Canadian prairies, it's often a hockey team that really draws the whole community together, and I have no doubt that the same sort of dynamic applies in trail.
Yeah, Tim, it really that whole thing is. I think it hits everyone. I like in our country, the fabric of what we are and who we are, and the connections of that team. When like our group of kids is exactly the same age as that group of kids, and
Wow.
on that bus was a former player of ours. He played for us, and he passed away in the accident. And the connections that are with my guys and my team are just like that all over the country, and it's horrible. It's horrible, but we all know that we spend so much time on the bus, and it could have been us at any time. And but I agree with you. Out of such an incredibly awful thing has just come amazingly fantastic humanity, and I think that's what I hold on to as we move forward, for sure.
What a legacy that Coach Darcy, I think his name is Darcy Hogan, left behind. Anyway, we should move on. We could talk hockey for a while here, but Terry, is there one personal habit that you would say, that's the thing I do every day that contributes to my success?
I've been a big reader of an author named Jon Gordon, and one of the things that I've learned and I've really tried to follow in the past 6 or 7 years is to have an attitude of gratitude. And it's in one of his books that he brings up that statement, attitude of gratitude. And, you call it a prayer, you call it a dream, you call it anything you want, leap of faith. But, there's a time when I walk around the school or I walk around the building and, I enjoy greeting people and being positive and being happy and being thankful for all the great things in my life. And I think it might not happen in the morning, but it happens at some point during the day when I really reflect on where I am in my moment, in my day, when I think and I'm thankful for all the fantastic things in my life. And I think that grounds me. I think that it keeps me positive. I think that it allows me to release any kind of negativity that I might be carrying. And in our jobs, that's something that happens quite often. And when I'm feeling low, that's usually where I go. I usually think about going for a walk or a jog and releasing any bit of negativity by being thankful for everything that's great in my life.
Terry, we're going to move into some rapid fire recommendations. First one up is Twitter. Who would you recommend that we start following on Twitter?
Well, I'll give you a couple. I really like Jon Gordon. I like a guy named Eddie Wu.
All right.
Sahlberg is a little bit deeper, but lots of good things there. Pasi Sahlberg, and There's also a generic Twitter site called Growth Mindset.
Okay.
It's like there's a pearl. I found they delivered the pearl of the last month and I thought, man, that's a fantastic piece of information right there. So, I would say one of those four for sure.
Cool. That's a great list. Point us to an edtech tool that you currently love in your practice. And I realize I don't think you're in the classroom at all right now. Is that correct, Terry?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
So is there something in your administration that you really enjoy, or is that not very applicable to you right now?
No, it's a good question. I think the thing that I find the most useful is Google Forms.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an amazing way to collect information and to collate and so quick and so easy to manipulate. I just can't believe what we're able to accomplish there. And our school kind of went to Google Classroom this year and really enjoyed the transition to Google Classroom and how simple it's been for kids and teachers. So I would say those are the two things for sure.
You are talking my language there.
Yeah.
Recommend a book. Now, you've mentioned Jon Gordon a couple of times. Is there a title that you can pass on, one of his bestsellers?
Geez, I think I've read them all, but I would say there's a few that ring a bell, and one is called The Energy Bus. I think that's probably one of his most popular. They're a little bit religious in nature, and I'm not a real religious guy, but there's a good message there all the time. Energy Bus is a great one. He wrote another one that I really like, and I shared with hockey players about a young lacrosse player who passed away and about being a great teammate. And it's called The Hard Hat. And I think that's a great story as well. And most recently, Tim, I've just read an amazing book that one of our profs recommended called The Book of Moments by Heath Heath. And it's just a fantastic book. And I think that every teacher should read it.
Well, that is another really good list, Terry, and I will make sure to add those on the show notes at teachersonfire.net. So thank you for those.
Yeah.
Couple of more for you. Are you a podcast guy?
Well, I tell you, I'm going to be a huge podcast guy. I've just found out that I've been asked to move to a different school, and after being at my school for 22 years, I now have a bit of a commute. And for anybody who lives in the city, it's not much of a commute, but for us here in the Kootenays, having a 35-minute commute is a long, long time. So I'm going to start being a podcast guy. And I think my first and most important podcast is definitely going to be Teachers on Fire.
All right. Well, I appreciate that plug. Terry, is there a YouTube channel that you go to? And something tells me you're probably subscribed to the NHL channel, but is there one that you think we might not know about that maybe we should?
You know what? I don't have one specifically. I think when I have time on a computer to watch stuff, though, I will spend a fair bit of time watching TED Talks. That's one thing that I'll do, but not overall. I do like the goofy things that do come up on there. And I can't actually tell you because it would make me look bad if I told you something.
All right. Hockey coaches aren't allowed to watch cute kittens, right? So, last question, Terry. Are you into the Netflix? How do you sort of kick back and relax, maybe with your wife at the end of the day? Is there something that you go to just watch and enjoy and relax on the couch?
Well, you know what? We're mostly, when there's a sporting event on, that's in the playoffs. We'll like playoff basketball. We'll sit. I love my PVR, to be honest, because you watch sports, it can take a long time. So PVRing is a fantastic invention to shorten up that time period and just catch the end of a game. Yeah. But we will nestle on the couch, and recently we've been watching this series called Genius that's kind of focused on the life of Albert Einstein.
Oh, okay.
And quite an interesting series, and actually for a teacher, when you see what it was like for him or how it's depicted. You see a guy who's a real dreamer, and it really makes you think about what being a teacher could be like when you try and lock into what those kinds of kids would be like, for sure.
There's a quote that I want to attribute to Einstein, or it's associated with him, that says something like, there's a fine line between insanity and genius, or something like that. But yeah, interesting guy. Very cool.
Yeah.
Terry,
for sure.
what's the best way for the listeners to follow you and get to know you a little bit better?
I'd say probably Twitter. You know, I know I find that you can really get, you know, I think social media and our tech world is super important. But, you know, I also know that if you get locked into it, you can be just like the kids and locked into it 24/7. So
Yeah.
I stick to Twitter, even though that makes me a little bit of a fossil. And I'm not on Instagram or I used to do some website work, but I haven't since I've become an administrator.
Sure.
But T-Ray8 on Twitter is where I am, and I do like Twitter for catching the news quick and picking up on things right away.
Well, you know, you mentioned the fossil bit, but I still think Twitter does the best job for connecting teachers and educators around the globe. Yeah. And so that's great to know that you live there and check in once in a while. Yeah. And we will definitely keep an eye on you. Terry, this has been a blast, man. I feel like we could talk longer.
Thanks a lot, Tim. What a great idea this is. And I look forward to seeing more of what you post. And so it's exciting to be a part of it for sure. Thanks for asking me.
Thanks, Terry. Take care, man.
Okay. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Teachers on Fire, where teachers come to share, learn, and be inspired. Please subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review on iTunes, and follow us on Twitter at Teachers on Fire. I'm your host, Tim Cavey, saying goodbye for now, and we'll catch you next time, right here on the Teachers on Fire podcast.